Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Not the 6 o'clock News. I want this to be a place where you can get your information so you can choose your new reality. You have the power to do it, so I'm giving you the tools here. Let's hope we can create a beautiful, brave new world. So today we're going to be talking about, do you want to grow your dream? Whatever your dream is. My guest today is small business coach Caroline Williamson, and we're going to be talking about some business strategies. So whether you've gone through COVID and you've taken a break from your job, and maybe it was enforced, or maybe you went willingly, you may during that time have had an opportunity to really look at your lifestyle and what you do in your life. Are you doing what you love? Maybe you've discovered a latent talent that you're turning into a hobby, and you thought, hey, maybe I could monetize this and I would be much happier doing that. Is that a reality for you? Or maybe you have a business that sadly really got creamed by the COVID, and you're going, maybe I want to do something completely different. And or maybe you want to take your small business in a different direction and grow it into something else. So whatever level you're at, Caroline has some amazing marketing strategies that she's going to share with us during the show and give you that support. Because being a small business owner myself, I know that sometimes that support is so important. I want to just say that Carolyn and I think we met last year and we became instant friends. We've got that both British background. And my experience of Caroline is actually that she's brilliant, and she's already given me some great tips, and I'm going to be working with her in the future because I'm one of those people that's gone through COVID and going, you know what, I want to simplify. I want to really narrow things down a little bit more, but how do I monetize? How do I go from here to there? So we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to read you a little bit of information about Caroline. Her mission is to support both small business owners and entrepreneurs in building a successful business, a lucrative bank account, and a great life from their business. Sounds good to me. Over the last 30 plus years, Caroline has gained extensive experience in all aspects of business across a diverse set of industries. Her consultative approach and intuitive talent for developing innovative ideas to move her client's business forward, combined with her tenacity to hold her clients accountable to their vision, is the cornerstone of her success as a business coach. So welcome, Caroline, and thank you for coming onto the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So, you know, in my previous Facebook Lives, I've been talking a lot about mental health and letting go, and some people call it woo-woo stuff. So here we are doing a show on business, which as we're just coming out of this phase that we think maybe it's over, maybe it's not. I remember you predicting, oh, I think it's going to be gone by the summertime. And I'm still not convinced, but we'll see what happens here. Yeah. So do you think this is a good time, if people are considering going through changes, is this a good time to begin planning? Or should they do kind of a wait and see thing?
I think that's a perfect time to plan. I really do, because people have the time to do that and they can really think through the plan. Right, what they want to do. So are you thinking about someone's thinking that they want to change tracks and they're thinking, should I be doing that right now?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the person who maybe started making jam or became a psychic during the COVID and said, hey, I'm good at this. I think as I did, I went in stages with mine. I had a full-time job and people kept bashing down my door, and I thought, wow, I don't have time for my full-time job anymore, but I didn't want to give it up completely.
Right.
What do you recommend the stages are in going from hobby maybe into business?
Yeah, I think the first step is that people really need to think very carefully about whether they want to take that hobby that they love and turn it into a business, because a hobby can be very different than a business, right?
Yes.
And so the last thing you really want is for that passion that you have, that love that you have, to turn into a burden. So I think that's the first step, is to really deeply think about that. And then, do the research and look at the viability of creating a business there, so that you don't create any kind of financial burden for yourself, right? And maybe,
Right.
so what I recommend to a lot of people is, if you've got something that you're really, really passionate about, and let's say you've got a job as well, or you're doing something else as an entrepreneur, and you're just kind of tired of that and you want to transition to something new, just do it as, kind of like a side hustle, the side job, right? So that you don't put pressure on yourself, so you can really enjoy that journey with discovering whether that's something that's going to be viable long-term for you.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I did. I found out, do I really want to do this full time? Is it going to take the joy out of that for me? I love to cook, and a lot of people said, oh, Natasha, you should start a restaurant. And I said, no way. I want to keep the joy in the creative cooking and do it because I love to do it and I love to be creative.
Exactly.
But my psychic gift, shall we say, is a passion. And I always felt that I was kind of destined to do that anyway. So, it just kind of grew. And what I was thinking about too for people is, and I say this to my clients when I'm doing readings, if you're going down a path and they say, oh, is it right for me to do that? Or is it wrong for me to do that? And I often say, well, is there a lot of resistance, or is it just flowing for you? Because often that's a sign from the universe you're on the right track.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So are there any online, so I'm sitting in my office, say, and I'm going, hey, I want to start this jam making business. And the one thing I heard, it's like, you got to have a business plan. You got to have a business plan. So if people can't afford to go to a lawyer or whoever they go to, or somebody like yourself, is there any help somewhere online that they could find support in writing a business plan, or finding out how to write a business plan?
Yeah, I think there's lots of support online. I think you have to use discretion when selecting someone for that. But I think, again, do your research. I would look at Googling people that provide that kind of service and people in your community, so that you can maybe meet them face to face versus someone who's living across the country or in the United States. I think it's very important for you to have a good connection with someone that is, going to do a business plan for you. There's other ways to do that too. You might know someone who's a very dear friend or a family friend that is a very successful business person. Go and ask them for their advice first, and follow that advice, because that's sort of a trusted advisor. Sometimes people have an accountant that they use, or they've had in their family for years, another good contact that they could use to just chat about the business. And again, let's say, using jam as an example, what comes to mind for me is you would go to the Saturday farmers market and go up to the people that are selling jam and talk to them about their business and what they love about it and what's working and what's not working, what their dream is, and really get a sense of that, and then check in with yourself. Is this feeling good as I'm talking to this person about this?
Yeah.
Or is it terrorizing me,
Well, once I did, this wasn't for a business, but this was for a job. And instead of I had this idea that maybe I wanted to be a public relations person in a hotel. Mm-hmm. So actually I found five hotels, and I found the names of the PR person, and I took my resume along, but I interviewed them. Mm-hmm. And after I'd done that, I came away, no, I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
It saved me a whole lot of grief. Yeah. So I love that suggestion. Mm-hmm. And I think, am I imagining this, or I always think of organizations like the Rotary Club, who are full of retired business people, yes, who might be willing to mentor. Is that an official thing, or did I dream that up?
No, I think that is true, but I don't know the details of that. But certainly I've heard that is part of that.
Yeah.
And even running a chamber, right? You can, connect business people.
Yeah. And the truth is, everybody loves to give advice. So yeah. It's not difficult to find somebody that wants to do that. So why do you think now is a good time? I know you're intuitive, and we've had chats about what's going to be on the other side of COVID. But why do you think now is a good time for people to really do it? Is it because things have slowed down, or do you think there's going to be something, a different world on the other side of this?
Why is it now is a good time to start their own business?
Start planning to do something different, to start to expand or switch lanes. Where do you think now?
I think that you know, the world has changed dramatically, and it's got a lot of people thinking that maybe they need more than one, they need a plan B.
Yes.
Right? Because all people, the unemployment in the United States and Canada, for instance, right, is incredibly high right now. And some people might be thinking, I'm not sure I'm going back to the same job that I had before.
Right.
So I think that it's just a time to look at options.
I agree with you. And do you find that a lot of people are thinking about taking their business, and I think the term is hybrid now, where you're partially online and you're partially in person, or completely online. Like, I can do my work completely online, and I am as well be coming to see you, Caroline, because I'm going to do an online course, and I want to know how to market that. So would you be having a lot of clients that come to you with maybe taking their business from in person to online, or restructuring it partially?
I think there's a huge move to that. That's actually what has happened with my business. Right, I'm doing everything online right now.
Yes.
And even as far as networking and connecting with people and just talking to business people and seeing what their needs are moving forward to get coaching, it's a very different world, right? So doing things like a Facebook Live is a great way to connect with people that I wouldn't normally connect with.
Right.
Well, I think we just don't know right now. I think we're going to change how we do things. And I think people will get really innovative and creative, and we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I think it has definitely changed. I know that I have a business partner in Calgary, and all of their networking events are opening up next week, right? So they will be face-to-face. So it will come back. I don't know so much about, I'm sure they're going to come back in Kelowna too, because Kelowna has been sort of ahead of a lot of other cities as far as opening up.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's very, very interesting. So do you think that online is going to be where it's at forever, or is this just kind of a reaction to COVID? Because we like to be together, don't we?
Yeah, I don't have a crystal ball, right?
No, I don't.
but I think that, I think it will be. I think it will be some kind of hybrid, right? Depending even what might be happening health-wise in communities that you're in, right? Because I think some people might get some resurgences and people might get uncomfortable and decide that they're going to stay home. But people do need to connect face-to-face. They do need to have that connection. So it's a brand new world.
We'll see. Yeah. So having gone through COVID, I've talked to a lot of people, and many of my friends have said, well, I hate to admit this, Natasha, but I'm actually loving it. And I think they don't want people to be sick, of course, and they don't like really the circumstances, but what they've loved. And I have enjoyed some days too when it's like, oh, good, the pressure is off. I don't have to go anywhere, do anything if I don't want to. I can just get on with my writing or plant my vegetables or whatever. So when we go back, the one thing I've thought of, and I think a lot of people don't want to go back into how they were doing it before and being so busy. So when you're talking about these marketing strategies, is it something that could be still keep us in that simplified lifestyle, do you think?
Yeah, I think that the way that we structure our coaching and what we teach does provide a really interesting focus on people's businesses in a way that is different than a lot of the marketing programs that I see out there. And the big reason why is that I think many people get overwhelmed by, like, especially let's say if we're talking about people transitioning right now more online than before, overwhelmed with the technology that they have to use. They're looking for people to support them. They don't know, and help them build out, let's say, their website or various other things that they're doing online, any kind of digital media that they're doing for them, and they don't know whether this person's a good person or a bad person. And I think that's very overwhelming for people.
Yes.
And what I like about our program is that we give people some really simple marketing fundamentals that most people don't teach.
Right.
And those marketing fundamentals really help keep people's businesses getting their business off the ground. I'm not from an idea standpoint and from how they're going to communicate their marketing message. it really simplifies the process so people feel like they're moving forward. And we'll talk about that probably in a little bit in more detail. But yeah, I think our processes really do simplify things for people. And sometimes when I teach people some of these basics, they go, wow, I never thought of it that way. Right? That's great. And so.
Well, why don't we get straight to it? What are your strategies?
Well, one that comes to mind right off the top of my head is when you're looking at, let's say, the little flyers that come into your house with all the different kinds of companies that are promoting their products in like a value pack, right? What you often see is a lot of times their message is like, call me, right? And it's got some standard stuff on there, right? That's like everybody else's, right? It's really important to differentiate yourself. And what they have to do is they have to enter the conversation going in the head of their prospect.
Right.
What is the problem that my prospect has that they don't want? And what's a solution that I have that they need? And when you figure out those elements, and then you can create the message, right, for them, right?
Yes.
That speaks to their need. And as you can imagine, if you have, let's say, I'm just going to say carpet cleaning business, but, and maybe there's different kinds of clients, right? You have residential clients, you have commercial clients, maybe you have some other unique clients that have special needs, like they clean the carpets of cars. I'm just making this up, right? And each of them has a problem that they have that they don't want around carpet cleaning, and a solution that they need that they don't have. And you can then cater that marketing message to that problem and that solution, so that someone reading it doesn't just see ABC carpet cleaning company, odor eating carpet cleaning, call us. Here's our number, right? We're open 6 days a week. They understand that there's a problem, especially maybe, here's a good example, a family that has a child that has some kind of asthma or allergy or some kind of medical issue, and they want to make sure that carpet cleaning product is really safe for their child.
Yes.
They can write a marketing message that's a problem that they have that they don't want, and they have a solution that they need that they don't have in that marketing message. So someone getting that flyer looks and goes, oh, I need to call them because that's the first company I've seen that offers something special that would meet our needs for our child.
Right. So how does the company or the business get the information about the individual prospect? Do they ask questions? Is it a survey? How do they uncover that?
Well, it could be that they could do those things, or they could just they could have existing clients and they haven't been marketing that way to them, and they've wondered why they haven't getting as much business as they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they start saying, okay, what kind of clients do we cater to? Who's looking for what we have? And then they can identify that with their existing clients. They might say, hey, we want to go in a new direction and get more commercial clients. So what are their specific needs, right? And go out and maybe do some market research. They look at other companies that are already offering those services to commercial clients. What are they saying to them? Maybe they're not saying anything special either. And then there's your edge to go in with a better, compelling marketing message for them.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's interesting you say that, because I had 2 calls this week and I was thinking about us doing this marketing show. Mm-hmm. And one just called me out of the blue and he just started talking and saying, we're an insurance company and we're going to do this for you. And I went, I'm busy. You didn't ask me if this is a good time.
Yeah.
I think that's a big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what my current situation is. You weren't interested. It was like, and I just went, click, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah.
And then I had another call this morning from New York, and she wanted to do a radio. She wants me to go on a TV show, but I think she's selling something. And it's like, no, you're not really interested in what I'm doing. No questions about me. It was all about shoving what they do down my throat. Mm-hmm. So, I do know that when I meet a client and say, oh, Natasha, I need to come and see you. And I said, well, what was it you were looking for? Because I do so many things, past life regressions, quantum healing, psychic readings, so great books, and some people are looking for help with psychic development, and some people are looking for reading, some people don't know what they want. Mm-hmm. So I kind of have a few questions, and of course I'm intuitive, mm-hmm. So I'm kind of getting the information so I know, I've got an idea of who I'm dealing with. And I think that's really important. So I'm glad you're, promoting that, because I think that's a big one. What's another marketing strategy?
Well, I think it's really important for I just thought of that as you were speaking. It's really important for people to understand what their market dominating position is for their company. What is it that they do, and why is that important to their potential prospects? And some companies can have a number of market dominating positions, but again, those market dominating positions give them the information that they can use to create their marketing message and attract those clients to them that care about that marketing dominating position that they have, if that makes sense.
Okay, can you give me an example of that?
Let's say a mechanic, I'm just,
Mm-hmm.
Who really cares about servicing, making the process enjoyable for women to have their cars serviced, making them feel comfortable, as an example. So they might say, I happen to have one of those, and he's the best guy in the world. And I was looking at his Facebook page, and he has all these 5-star ratings, but so many of them are women who say, thank goodness I finally found a mechanic who I can trust because I know nothing about cars, right? And I thought, that is so brilliant. And I will always go to him now because he's been such a great mechanic. I should give him a plug. Great mechanic here in Kelowna. That is important. And that's something that's a problem women have. The car breaks down, as an example, again, right? And they don't want that. And they're looking for someone who really takes the time to make sure a woman understands what's happening to her car and is honest and trustworthy and has that reputation.
Well, you mentioned a very big word there, and that's trust.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard of Alignable, but it's a social network for business, right?
Yeah.
And they often ask the question, how do you increase your business clientele? And I always follow, you've probably heard of Marks and Spencer's in England, right?
Yeah.
The chain store, of course, Marks and Sparks. And they never did any advertising. But what they did, which I thought was very fascinating from a business perspective, is they just always had really good quality product, clothes, food, wine, whatever it was. If you wanted to take something back, no questions asked, the dog could have done his business on it, or they've been dragged through the hedge, they give you the money back. There were no changing rooms. You couldn't try anything on the store, so they didn't need to use up that space. And they had the best reputation, and they built their market on trust.
Yeah.
And so what I do, I always want to create trust with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so if somebody's not happy, which has happened very rarely in my 25 professional career as a reader, I said, hey, I know what I did. I know I spoke the truth, but if you're feeling something that's not good, I want you to have the money back because I don't want to hold on to your energy either.
Right.
And so off you go, and next time you need a reading, go somewhere else, kind of thing. Unless there's something drastic went wrong. But people would always say to me, you have a very good reputation, Natasha. I go, good, because that's what I'm going for. Yeah. I'll do anything, and I'd rather be overly generous to reassure people. So there's two ends of it, though. It's the business person creating the trust, but like you said in the beginning, it's finding, when you're in a small business, finding those web designers, producers, accountants. What do you recommend? I know I've learned to ask other people, or we can Google people and say, is this person trustworthy? Do you have any specific recommendations for finding people you can trust to get that team together?
I think do your homework. I think these days there's so much online. I think the research is important. I would talk to people that you are in your community, whether that's your business community or friends and family that you know, and ask for other people for advice, but no, not really anything more than that.
Yeah, it's kind of experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've gone through some real doozies myself.
Yeah, because reviews can be misleading.
Yeah, and they can be paid for, I've found out.
Right, but you can also always ask a potential person, for references that you talk to. What happens? Yes. Ask them what happens if it isn't working. Like what, you'll get a sense. I mean, you'll get a sense of someone, I think. But it is, I mean, I think everybody has gone through those situations where they went, wow, I just spent a lot of money on something and I really didn't get the value I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, to me, I'm holding back now, deciding not to give out big lumps of sums of money to people and say, okay, let's do it. It's like, well, let's see what you can do, and then I'll pay you.
Exactly. Well, I mean, yeah, and that's what I love about our program is that when we start working with people, we're working with them on different ideas that they get and strategies that they can implement in their business. And if something's not working for them, there's so many other strategies that we have that we'll just continue to work with people until they get success. Right.
Okay, that's awesome.
As long as they're doing the work, right? As long as
exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
We're not doing the work for them. Right?
Yeah. So I know you're doing a workshop on June 17th, Caroline, and it's free.
It's a webinar. Online. Yeah, it's a webinar.
Webinar, sorry.
Online.
Online, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's between 10 and 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah.
What kind of things are you going to be covering in the workshop?
We are going to be covering some marketing fundamentals, some of the magic that we talk about that we kind of differentiate ourselves from others. There will be components of that in there that I think people will find really interesting. And then we're probably going to give the people on the webinar 3 to 4 strategies that don't cost any money to implement or very little money to implement, right?
Okay.
That can dramatically increase their revenues and profits.
Okay.
And we see people do that time and time and time again. And it's like, we ask, part of our program is we get people to work with us and implement, let's say, 4 or 5 different strategies while they're working with us. And the incremental increase in each one of those makes a huge difference in their overall results of profit. Yeah.
So would this be a spoiler alert, or can you share another strategy with us?
Okay, I'll give you some examples. And these ones are quite quick to implement. We have ones that are more that are a little bit hard, not more difficult, but take more time to implement. So what we like to do with people too, when we're working with them, we like to get them have wins right out of the gate. So we have something that we call quick start strategies, right? Things that they can do in their business very quickly and get results right away. So one of the strategies we use is reactivating stale clients. So we'll work with our client on looking at who has been with them, what did they purchase, when was that, and we have a whole reactivation strategy around that. We also like to teach people bundling strategies. So when price is an issue and you're in a very competitive environment, right? You bundle your products together so you have an apples and oranges comparison, right? So that you're different. You've got so much value there, and that way you don't have to discount because you're offering, a bundled up package with a lot of value to it.
Okay, so that's something I'd be very interested in, and I need help with, because I have my books, I have my readings, I have my past life regressions, and I think, gosh, that would make a nice bundle. Mm-hmm. And but I'm not very good at sitting down and deciding how I should do that. So could I book a session with you on that one?
Yes, for sure. Yes. Yeah.
And I love the revitalizing stale clients, because over the years I've read thousands and thousands of people, and I've still got some old emails, but some people come back from 17 years ago and some people don't. So it'd be really nice to see how they're doing and follow up with them and just have that big network going on. So I love that idea.
I thought about that for you actually in the past. I thought, I bet she has like so many emails of clients, right? That, and most people, they don't stop doing, like if they've had a bad experience, they might stop doing business with you. But many people stop doing business with you because they got busy, right? They forgot, right? They haven't
moved away.
Haven't heard from you. You haven't been promoting to them. You haven't given them a reason to work with you, right? And it's people that already know you instead of going out there and getting brand new leads. So it's like a treasure trove there, right?
Yes.
And then you can come back to them with some of the new things that you're doing, and they go, "Oh, wow, yeah, book me as an example for you." Yeah.
Exactly. What do you think about sending out newsletters? Because this was something that I used to do once a month, and they were kind of long because I had a lot going on. And it was like writing a chapter in a book every time. And then I broke it down to quarterly, and then people were unsubscribing because people were getting so busy. And I went, maybe people don't want to hear from me, but I've been feeling, actually, I've just signed up for another new email service because I miss having that contact. My clients are like one big family, and I love to follow up and see how they're doing, and I care about people. And so what do you think about the newsletter? A lot of people said, no, don't send out the newsletter, just do the Facebook. What's your thought on that for businesses?
I think a newsletter is good, right? I think you need to really get clear on what your intention is. Like you said, you want to connect with people. What is it that you want to be saying to them, right? And maybe how will you reach out to get those people re-engaged? And maybe you ask them, I miss talking to you. I'd like to connect with you and keep you up to date on what's going on with me. What are you interested in hearing about, right?
Okay.
And then give them some options, because you're doing some really cool new things, right?
Yes.
That you not know about, right? And so, yeah. And you might have people say, no thanks, or and say, and if you don't want a newsletter, I'm on Facebook, right? And
Yes. Yeah.
So
No,
I would reach out
that.
with a marketing piece on like that.
Yes.
Short and to the point, right? Because people don't have a lot of time and they're inundated. I mean, I saw today on my email that they just gave me a new thing where you can press on it, gives you all the people you're subscribed to, and you can decide which ones you don't want. And I was like, oh, this is great. I can just go click, 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 because I've got this huge amount of people that are sending emails to me that I don't want to get their emails anymore because it's not relevant to me anymore, right?
Right.
So you need to make sure you're relevant to people. Like, what topics would you, if I've been involved in so many new things, what topics are you interested in?
Yes.
A little survey first.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Caroline. Okay. I know, because this is the thing, people are so busy, and you don't want to be invasive. I don't want to feel like I'm pressuring you to do anything, but I am interested. I just want to hear, are you still alive? Are you okay?
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to call them news flashes rather than newsletters.
That's good.
It's going to be two-liners, guess what I'm doing this week kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just want to say hi to Gary. He's come on, and Gary's always listening to us. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
He's a writer as well,
Ah.
and he's got some great ideas. So you may be hearing from Gary in the future too. So I know you're a business coach, Caroline, and we've kind of dabbled in that a little bit. I don't feel like I've had a formal session with you. So what would what would be the first process, if you like, of somebody coming to see you in terms of getting business consulting?
Right. So we have a program, and it's a 52-week program. Okay. And so what we do is we start right at the very beginning with week 1, right? And part of that is getting people getting clarity on their vision. But what we find is, as we go through the weeks, all of the kind of different parts of the business start coming out, and the sessions end up being very much like you and I speaking today, where I've given you some ideas on your business based on what you said to me, and they go, oh, that's great. I want to think about that. Right. So we do follow a format, right? And what we're trying to get people to do is implement, get some structure in their business, get their messaging right? Understanding what their market dominating position is, and they can have more than one, so that they know where they're going to be marketing to, and then working on getting into the mind of their various kinds of prospects. What is a problem they have that they don't want, and a solution that they don't have that they need, and start figuring out what their marketing messages are going to be. It's a lot more than that, but it's just a process that I naturally take people through, and they get real clarity.
Well, clarity is very dynamic when it comes to manifesting. I know that. Mm-hmm. And it can save you a lot of time. So those sessions, are they like an hour long each, or does it depend?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do an hour. Once a week. Now, we're going to be moving to group coaching, because that's quite dynamic as well, right?
Yes.
Because you get a lot of people, and then they're sharing ideas with each other, right?
Yes.
So people go through each week, and they do the work, and the lessons are amazing, incredibly insightful, and the people that are doing it are loving it, right? They say It's a lot of work, but I've also said to people, once you've gone through that lesson, it doesn't have to be 100% because you can go back and look at that again. But as long as you've got a sense of what your vision is now, so you can move forward and start putting the other building blocks in place, it's fine. And I'm working with someone right now, and I said, you don't have to do anything more on vision. You're good. You don't have to do anything more on this. You're good, right? Like, and she goes, yeah, I think I am too, right? So it's a nicely flowing process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know you've got quite a few success stories, but could you just share one with the audience today, and kind of something that says why it works, why these strategies work for your clients?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I've got it here, and it's not long, but it's got lots of information in it. So I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So this is my client that I just started working with. Mm-hmm. She's been working with me for a month, and I just called her today, and I just said, can you just tell me a little bit, like I have other clients, but this one I'm kind of really proud of how much fun it is and how well she's doing, and so quickly, and it's brand new. So I said, can you tell me like what you've discovered about your business, like in the last 4 months, and what results you've had in the last 4 weeks. So she said, and I already knew some of this, but she said she increased her revenue and found additional new sources of revenue. She implemented innovative new ways to market her business, which resulted in increasing her mailing list by 100% to 200 active subscribers that said, yes, I want to join your list. Increased her markup of products using our bundling strategy. Created lots of ideas for new products and services using her existing inventory to like find, lost money. She also shared that my active listening style and questions I asked helped her to come to her own solutions about various aspects of her business that she could just move forward throughout the week before we had our next session. She also commented that she loves the energies of the sessions, and it helped her to implement new ideas. So
wow.
My sense of her is that she's totally on fire, right? And she's just loving it. Yeah. And she's doing, she's online. She does Facebook. She teaches people how to quilt.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes, it's so interesting. And she does Facebook Lives with them, and she's got people all over the country and people in the US following her. And she just started her business 2 months ago.
Wow.
Yes.
2 months, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's amazing what she's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm not taking all the credit for what she's done. But she's had guidance, and she really appreciates it. So.
Well, that kind of leads nicely into my next question, because I'll often say, I work with people and I'll help them get to their highest selves and their greatest potential, but they have to be, I can't drag them there. They have to be willing, they have to be committed to themselves.
Yeah.
So do you have people that come along and say, oh, I want help, but I don't really want to do the work?
Yes.
Yeah. And so what do you do with those people?
I think that I inspire them. I do have people say every time I'm on a call with you, I leave inspired. I am intuitive, so I do give them ideas. Like she says a lot of times, I'll say I'll just think of something and I'll say, maybe you could do this. And she goes, that's a great idea. Right. So it's very much, I'm not just a coach that asks them questions and gets them to solve everything for themselves. They are doing all that work. But if something comes to me that seems like a really good idea, I'll say, hey, here's something you could do. And I think that just raises the energy up, right? And inspires people to keep going. And so I think it's an important part. Yeah.
Well, I find, and I'm sure you find this with small business owners that work by themselves, it's kind of lonely.
It is.
And, and if you don't have that support, we were watching something on Netflix called The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. And what struck me about a lot of athletes who've been very successful is that they've had somebody right behind them supporting them. And, and that's got to be such a luxury, because I never had anybody specific like that. I kind of had the opposite from my family and from the world in a way, telling me I'm woo-woo. So I've kind of had to fight that as well. Mm-hmm. And I think having the support from somebody like yourself is massive. But do you find some people come to you and they might be on fire in their conscious minds, but they've got some subconscious sabotage fears and blocks going on? And my question to you is, how do you work with them or those blocks?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that is true. That happens. I think that I usually just end up kind of talking to them, the way you would talk to anybody that you're trying to help with something that, it isn't happening. I don't strike down the accountability hammer per se.
No,
Where it's
no.
like, well, you didn't do the work, so call me next week, right?
Yeah.
But it'll be like, okay, why is this not happening? You
Yes.
you're going to get that done. What are you struggling with? And then try to work with them on what's holding them back, right? Whether that's a personal thing or is just a challenge in the business, right? Or they feel
Yes.
overwhelmed sometimes. It's like,
Yes.
I meant to work on that. I wanted to work on that. I feel bad that I didn't work on that, but this happened and that happened. So some people have excuses. And if you have that all the time, then it's like maybe not the right time for you to have coaching, right?
Right.
That's the reality. But sometimes it can be like, if you just shifted this and let that go and gave yourself this amount of time and committed to it, do you think you might be able to get something done? And maybe you want to get that done at the, in the hour before our coaching session. So then you can get immediate feedback, things like that. So just to hold their hand, give them a path, give them some options. Cause sometimes people just, they love their business in their heart, but then they get into their head and they say, this isn't working. I'm frustrated. And so trying to bring them back to the reason why they started it in the first place and why it matters to them.
You know what? I love that, Caroline, because you're not just giving people information and saying, do this, do that. You're kind of holding their hand, like you say, and empowering them.
Yes.
And in a very nurturing way, which, again, as a small business owner, you need that. A lot of the time, I've had my days when I've said, I just want to give up and go work in Starbucks, right?
Yep.
And then the next day I'm good again, and it's like I'm all on fire again.
Yeah.
But on those days, that's when I'd be going, help, what do I do now? So that's awesome that you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever start, I've been taught, and I don't know if this may be not correct, so I'll be interested to hear what you have to say. I've been taught that, especially when manifesting, you start with the end result and work backwards. So instead of saying, well, what do I do next week and next week and next week and build up, I need to decide how many clients I want, how many books I want to sell, how many dollars I want to make in a year. Do you recommend that, or do you just work moving forward?
I think it's important to have that benchmark. I do.
Yes.
I think that's the thing that helps you hold your accountability, right?
Okay.
It also gives you a path, right? Well, if I need to have that by the end of the year, right, and I'm in month 1, what am I committing to here? And it might not be the same as what you're doing as you ramp up to month 6, 7, and 8.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's part of the plan that you develop. I think you absolutely need to have a plan. You need to have that touchstone, because you're just going to wander. And then, it might shift too, right? You might have that plan. And in month 2 or 3, it's like, okay, that whole opportunity I thought was going to carry me through the next 3 months isn't there anymore. What can I do? How can I reinvent what I'm doing? How can I use stuff that I have that's existing? And like Michelle, who said, I have all this fabric that I it's sitting there. I need to do something with that. So I said, okay, so what are you going to do with it? Right. And that's, she did a Facebook Live. She did an amazing, she did something with ice cream cone colors and she sold out all her fabric. Right. And then she had something else that was stuck, and she just said she didn't think that was, she had done a good enough job of showing the fabric visually, that she didn't have good photographs of it. So she did a Facebook Live and brought it up close and let people see it. And she sold out all her fabric. So very, very innovative. Right. So
yes,
I think people need to be nimble, right? They need to, like, if something's not working, don't keep hammering away at something that's not working. And
that's right.
Step away.
Well, I'm always talking about effectiveness, because I do a lot of communication. I'm doing Facebook Live, and like I said, this goes on YouTube and podcasts, and I'm doing blog. And I want to, there's no point in doing it unless I'm having the impact that I want to have in inspiring people, supporting or empowering, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So it's about effectiveness. Do you ever have people that you think they want to do one business, and I know how intuitive you are, and you think, oh, they shouldn't be doing that, they should be doing this over there? Do you ever get that one?
Sometimes.
And how do you let them know, or do you kind of keep quiet?
You know what? I think I always let people know.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. I'll say, I probably start by asking them why they're doing what they're doing, right?
Okay.
So I get this backstory of why they're, and then probably I would ask them questions like, so, is this filling you up every day when you do this, right? And because I can see that what you've done already is really great, but you could take that to another level if you maybe, connected it with this over here that we were talking about last week. And sometimes, that's a good example. I'm not giving a real detailed example. And they might say, yeah, you know what, that's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Say, you connected with that person 3 months ago at the chamber. You haven't followed up with them, but you were thinking of doing some kind of partnership with that person. Have you thought about how that might work? And maybe you should just call them about it so that you get inspired again.
Wow.
Because it's all about energy, really, isn't it? And it is
It's
hard.
all about energy. It's all about energy and doing what we love. I always, I have so many clients that come to me and they're working in an office which they hate with people who they're not happy about. And their energy is like, whoa. And I go, you know what? You're good at radio announcing or making quilts or, something else. And they start to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, oh no, Natasha, I can't do that. And I go, well, why are you crying? Because it's touching you on some level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like excavating something from the basement of their being that's been chucked down there and hidden behind old dusty stuff. And it's like getting it out, dusting it off and going, oh, well, maybe I can. Mm-hmm. And that's why I like doing these shows, because I'm bringing people on who can support us in being all that we can be. So this is very exciting. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to finish off with one last question for you, Caroline. I'm going to, as you know, when I get around to it, after I finish my 5th book, develop an online course. And I really want to do one for kids, for teens and young adults, for several reasons. I want to teach the things I wish I'd learned when I was 17, because it would have saved me a whole lot of agony and pain.
Yeah.
And whether they take it in or they don't, or they remember it when they're 35 and go, oh yeah, Natasha told me that. And do you think that this is something, business strategies that would be marketing, is something that should be taught in schools now? So it gives kids an opportunity when they're thinking about what they want to be when they grow up, an idea of what would be involved and if they'd be good at it, if they warm to it. Do you think it's a course that could be taught to teenagers?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I don't think the schools are necessarily doing a really good job of that, preparing kids. I mean, I have 4 children, right, that have all kind of finished high school and beyond that. And my one son knew exactly what he wanted to do. But, people are still kind of finding themselves, right? And just quickly, my son said, the teacher wants to see you because I'm supposed to have got this thing done and I haven't got it done yet. And it's about planning my future. And he said, and I'm telling her that I don't have to worry about this and that because I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And she said, no, you can't do it that way. And he was really frustrated. So I said, well, why don't I go in with you, right? Because he comes from a family of entrepreneurs, right? So that's what he's grown up with. And so we sat down with the teacher and she was going through what she wanted him to do. And then he was kind of saying why he saw it differently. And then I was kind of supporting him with that. But she never really bought that. And then at the very end, she just walked away and I said, just fill it in the way she wants you to and give it to her so it's done, right? Because it's like, it was crazy, right? So
I know. I
do think it's important. I don't think they make an attempt at it in school, but realistically, I would say that 90% of the kids don't really, some kids just know what they're going to do, right? And some kids know what they're going to do because they're really, really highly intelligent so that they can be, a doctor or an engineer and things. And so they just assume that because they are that intelligent and can do that stuff easily, that's what they're supposed to be. Then they become the engineers, the doctors, the lawyers, and they go, I'm miserable. This is not what I want.
That's right.
Right. So it can be, nobody's doing something in depth. So that's why I kind of like what your idea is. Nobody does something really, really in depth, not just superficial.
Yeah.
And because they're saying, well, I want to be a lawyer because I'm going to make lots of money and I'm really smart. My dad's a lawyer and I can easily get through law school. Yeah. And then they go at the other end and say, I don't ever want to be doing that.
I so agree with you because I have my own experience. I went to my school counselor and I said, I want to be a psychologist. And she said, oh, you can't possibly do that because your math's not good enough. Well, I'm very linguistically strong. I love writing, love English. I speak now 7 languages, to varying degrees of fluency. But she said, oh, no. And I've ended up really being a psychic psychologist.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it took me a long, long time to kind of think, oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm really good at this and I love it. This is my thing. And I speak language. She said I couldn't learn German because blah, blah, blah. Well, I speak fluent German now, plus a few other languages. So, no. And I really think I just want to say this to the audience, especially when it involves kids, because I get so many clients that have just really squashed their thing that they naturally love to do. And they were told by somebody like a teacher or an older brother or a parent saying, oh, who do you think you are? You can't do that. Or you'll never make money at that. Do what you love, because that is the universe's way of saying that's what you came here to do. So don't listen to other people. Just follow your own instinct with that. Yeah. And then whatever you're good at, you're going to be successful at and make lots of money at, right?
Exactly.
How?
and you know what? And if it's something you love and maybe you're not making as much money as you want to, there's so many opportunities now, right, on being able to do other things on top of what you're doing.
Yes.
And when you think of the future, like when you're talking about your course, what came to mind for me is preparing kids for the next generations of robots and things like that are going to completely change everything. And so how do we equip the kids with the information they need to make decisions about the future? Because I'll tell you right now, what I hear from my kids a lot, and it's kind of sad, but they're not negative kids. They just go, I don't even know what our future is. With COVID, with all the things that have been happening in the last several years, with what's happening on the earth and stuff, our kids are they're online all the time. That's all the stuff they're reading. And they're saying, do we have a future? You guys kind of screwed it up for us. Yeah.
Come to watch my show, because I'm always talking about, the beautiful planet that I feel like we're rebirthing, and on the other side of this, we're going to have a beautiful planet with some very dynamic people. It's different. It's going to be different. But I know that we need to live in a much kinder world, for sure. Yeah. And it is going to be different, but we'll adapt. We will adapt. So, Caroline, I just want to thank you so much for coming on today. Lovely, lovely information. I can't wait to have my first session with you and talk about lots of things, but especially funneling and revitalizing my client list, because I'm in the process of doing that anyway. So I'm going to be motivated. So normally at the end of these shows, I just like to give a shout out to all the people right now who are bringing kindness, compassion, and humor to the world, and just staying in the light. There's so much negativity floating around, like Caroline's just said, and it's negatively affecting the next generation. And I just want to reassure them that we can choose a new reality, and it's up to us to be the change that we want to see. I always say thank you still to the nurses, doctors, frontline workers, anybody that's out there, that's been out there and still out there. I don't think it's over yet, but we're getting a bit of a breather, so to speak, and hopefully we're being smart and wise so we don't put ourselves back in the old situation with them. And a thank you for everybody who's choosing love over hate, peace over conflict, and holding space for our planet to heal, not just Mother Earth, but our collective unconscious. It's time. We've got to move forward. We've got to bring in equality on all levels, not just racially, but also monetarily, and we've got to take better care of each other. So I want to thank you, everybody, the light workers, the healers, everybody, Caroline, anybody that's doing the good work, doing good things on the planet, so we can all live in a new reality. So now I'm going to do my normal meditation. So if you listening and you want to close your eyes and just take a nice deep breath in through the nose and exhale through the mouth, and just release any tension that you might be feeling at this moment. As you breathe in, you're breathing in love, light, kindness, and compassion. And breathing out anything that is of fear, of a low frequency. And just imagining that you have this rose crystal bowl floating above your knees, wherever you're sitting or lying down. And just putting anything that you don't want that's in your body, any energies of pain or tension or worry, any kind of fear, putting that into the bowl, knowing that your guides and angels who do guide and protect you can come and take that from you, relieve you of it, take it away, and transmute that lower frequency energy into something very beautiful. And now I'd like you to imagine that you're in nature somewhere, in a very beautiful place, knowing that this whole planet we live on is like one big lush garden, and that all the beings who live on this planet are living with kindness, creativity, creating a beautiful heaven on earth, where all sentient beings are taken care of, that they're allowed to be who they really are, that they're loved and loving. And we have a very dynamic, beautiful, healthy world in which we are now living. Knowing that the more we spend time in this frequency, the sooner this reality will manifest. Nice deep breath in. Be the change you want to see. Amen. So be it, and so it is. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you again, Caroline. And just a reminder that these videos are on YouTube, going to be on podcast. So if you see me on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, jump up and down, do whatever you need to do. But let's get this positive messages out there, because we need these for the kids. The kids need to hear this stuff, not be listening to the CNN stuff. Mm-hmm. That's poison for the mind, people. So let's start thinking happy. Thank you again. Namaste.
It was fun. Thanks.
Thanks, Caroline.
Bye-bye.
Bye.